Ladies and gentlemen, you ever feel like the whole world just shifted under your feet? Like something you can't explain is happening, but you know it's real? You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're on the edge of something divine. And if you don't sit through this moment, if you walk away too soon, you might miss the very sign you've been praying for your whole life. Listen to me. Today, I'm going to walk you through the clear signs that God is about to bless his favorite woman. And if you hear even one of these signs speaking to you, it means you're closer than you think. Stay with me, because the next 5 minutes could change everything you believe about the season you're walking through. There's a moment in every chosen woman's life when the noise dies down, when the crowds thin out, when the people who used to call, the ones who used to invite you, the ones who made you feel seen, they slowly disappear. It doesn't make sense at first. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? You replay conversations in your head. You overthink text messages that were never answered. You wonder why you're suddenly left standing alone, wondering if you somehow pushed everyone away. But what you don't realize is that this isolation, it's not a curse. It's not abandonment. It's not even rejection. It's protection. It's preparation. It's a setup for elevation that you cannot afford to miss. When God is about to bless his favorite woman, he needs her attention, all of it, not divided between toxic friendships, not distracted by meaningless conversations, not consumed by seeking approval from people who can't even see her value. The blessing that's coming requires clarity. It requires focus. It demands a level of strength that cannot be forged in a crowd. It can only be built in the silence, in the stillness, in the moments when you're staring at four walls, wondering why no one checks on you anymore. Crowds are noisy. Crowds are needy. Crowds are messy. And when you're surrounded by too many voices, it gets harder to hear the only voice that matters. So God does what he always does when he's preparing someone for greatness. He separates her. He pulls her out of her familiar places. He shifts the scenery. He removes the comfort zones, because comfort zones might feel good, but they don't grow you. Your comfort zones don't teach you how to lead. They don't prepare you to stand in rooms where your name will be called with honor. They don't strengthen the kind of spirit that can handle favor without folding under pressure. And that's why the isolation feels so brutal. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're valuable. You are carrying something too precious to be left vulnerable to every hand that wants to touch it, every mouth that wants to speak into it, every spirit that wants to drain it. So the separation had to happen. The loneliness had to come, not to hurt you, but to position you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. During this season, you're not losing friends. You're losing distractions. You're not being abandoned. You're being aligned. Aligned with your purpose. Aligned with the people who will actually celebrate you, not tolerate you. Aligned with the opportunities that match your calling, not your comfort. It's painful, I know. It feels unfair. Some days it feels unbearable. There are nights when you cry yourself to sleep wondering if anybody even notices you anymore. There are mornings when you wake up feeling invisible. But you have to understand something deeper. The people who were meant to go into your next season would not have needed an exit. They would not have been removed. God does not take what you need. He takes what would have hindered you later. The loneliness isn't a loss. It's a filter. It's the clearing of the path so that when your blessing shows up, there's no crowd around you trying to claim a piece of it. Right now, in the silence, your character is being built. Your endurance is being stretched. Your discernment is getting sharper. You are learning to lean on something higher than public approval. You are learning how to move without applause, how to trust the unseen, how to believe in yourself, even when no one else is clapping. And that's exactly the kind of woman who can handle the blessing that's on the way. Because when the blessing comes, and make no mistake, it's coming, you won't have time to second guess yourself. You won't have the luxury of doubting your worth. You will be called to walk into rooms you didn't even know existed. You will sit at tables that your past couldn't have built. You will carry responsibilities that your old life couldn't handle. And you'll do it with a quiet strength that was born right here, in the solitude and the isolation, in the hidden place where nobody saw you but him. So if you're feeling alone today, don't curse the silence. Don't beg to go back to a crowd that couldn't love you right. Stand firm, be still, listen, because the isolation is not random. It's not meaningless. It's the cocoon before the flight. It's the stillness before the surge. It's the whisper before the announcement. You are being hidden, not forgotten. You are being prepared, not punished. And when the time is right, when you are strong enough, wise enough, ready enough, the isolation will end. The doors will open. The tables will be set. And you will realize that every lonely night, every silent tear, every season of invisibility was just heaven getting you ready to rise. Stay the course, endure the isolation, because elevation is closer than you think. There's something powerful about peace that doesn't make sense. When everything around you is screaming for your attention, the bills are overdue, the relationships are strained, the future looks uncertain, and yet somehow deep down you feel calm, you feel steady, you feel unshaken. That's not the kind of peace you can manufacture with positive thinking or motivational quotes. That kind of peace is a sign, a direct signal that something bigger is at work in your life. When God is getting ready to bless his favorite woman, one of the first gifts he gives her is peace. Not after the storm, not when the problems are solved, but right in the middle of the chaos. Right when the world thinks you should be losing your mind, falling apart, giving up. That's when a quiet stillness starts to settle over your spirit. It doesn't make sense to the people around you. It barely makes sense to you. You know you should be worried. You know you should be panicking. But somehow, your heart is steady. Your mind is clear. Your soul is at ease. This unexplainable peace is proof that you're not walking through life alone. It's the evidence that you're being carried even when you can't see it. It's a mark placed over your life that says, she's protected, she's covered, she's being prepared. And when that kind of peace shows up, it's not just a nice feeling, it's a divine strategy. Because peace is what gives you the power to stand still when every part of you wants to run. Peace is what gives you the strength to wait when your emotions are screaming for you to move. Peace is what anchors you when the winds of life are trying to tear you apart. People who don't understand this peace will think you're naive. They'll say, aren't you worried? Don't you care? How can you be so calm when everything looks like it's falling apart? But they don't understand. You're not calm because everything's fine. You're calm because you know who's holding your life together. You're not at peace because you have all the answers. You're at peace because you trust the one who does. You've learned to stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight in the first place. You've learned to release the need to control every outcome. You've learned to surrender the fear, the anxiety, the need for everything to make sense. When that kind of peace falls over your life, it's not just protecting your mind, it's preparing your future. Because a woman at peace is dangerous to the enemy. She's not easily rattled. She's not easily manipulated. She's not tossed back and forth by every storm, every rumor, every delay. She knows who she is. She knows what's coming, and she refuses to let temporary circumstances make her forget her eternal destiny. The enemy doesn't mind a woman who panics. He doesn't mind a woman who complains. He doesn't even mind a woman who works herself to the bone, trying to fix everything by her own strength. But a woman who is still, who is silent, who is peaceful, that woman is unstoppable because she's already won the battle internally. And once you've won the battle inside, it's only a matter of time before the victory shows up on the outside. So if you're walking through a season right now where everything seems uncertain, but you feel strangely peaceful, don't ignore that. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's growth. That's a sign that your spirit has shifted out of survival mode and into trust mode. It's a sign that you're no longer living by what you see, but by what you know. And what you know is this: blessings are closer than they look. Breakthroughs are nearer than they seem, and no matter what it looks like on the surface, underneath it all, the foundation is being laid for something you can't even fully imagine yet. This peace is your proof. Proof that you've matured. Proof that you've grown. Proof that you've learned how to be still and know that everything you prayed for, cried for, fought for is on its way. Not because you forced it, not because you chased it, but because you stayed faithful, you stayed calm, you stayed planted, and now it's chasing you. Don't let anyone rob you of that peace. Don't let fear sneak back in. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the stillness in your soul. Protect it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. That peace is your compass. That peace is your weapon. That peace is your announcement to the world that no matter what happens next, you're already victorious. So breathe, rest, keep moving forward with quiet confidence. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Just walk in the peace that surpasses all understanding. Because the blessing you're about to walk into was tailor-made for you. It's already written. It's already sealed. And now it's already on the way. One of the clearest signs that you're about to step into a new blessing is when doors start closing all around you. Relationships end. Opportunities dry up. Paths you thought you would walk forever suddenly come to a dead stop. And if you're not paying attention, it can feel like you're being punished. It can feel like you're losing. It can feel like you've made a mistake. But hear me when I say this. The closed doors are not rejection. They are protection. When a blessing is around the corner, when elevation is getting ready to meet you, not everyone and not everything can go with you. Some doors have to close because the next season of your life demands a different version of you. It demands a stronger you, a wiser you, a more focused, more disciplined, more courageous you. And not everybody can handle that. Not every relationship can support that. Not every opportunity was meant to carry you into the future that's waiting for you. It's hard when it happens. Let's be real. It hurts when people walk away. It stings when places you love no longer feel like home. It's confusing when the thing you prayed for suddenly becomes the thing you have to release. But you have to understand, closed doors are God's way of rerouting you without announcing it first. It's His way of saying, you're too valuable to waste time here. You're too important to stay stuck. You're too destined to settle for less than what's already written for you. When a door closes, it's not because you're being forgotten. It's because you're being remembered. It's because your future is too important to be delayed by comfort zones. It's because the promise over your life is too heavy to be carried through a door that wasn't built to handle you. Some doors were only meant for a season, not for a lifetime. And when the season changes, the door has to close. And here's the thing. Most of the time, the doors that close are the ones you would have never closed on your own. If it were left up to you, you would have stayed in that relationship too long. You would have clung to that job too tightly. You would have held on to friendships that stopped growing years ago. You would have kept trying to force yourself into spaces that were quietly shrinking around you. But when God has marked you for something greater, He won't let you stay in places that can't sustain your growth. He'll close the door. He'll make it uncomfortable. He'll dry up the opportunity, not to hurt you, but to move you. And if you really think about it, you'll realize that some of the greatest blessings in your life didn't come from the doors that opened. They came from the doors that closed. You didn't understand it at the time. You cried, you questioned, you begged for it to make sense, but looking back, you can see it clearly. If that door hadn't closed, you wouldn't be who you are today. If that opportunity hadn't ended, you wouldn't have discovered your real purpose. If that person hadn't walked away, you wouldn't have found the strength to stand on your own. So if you find yourself in a season right now where it feels like doors are closing, don't panic. Don't force it. Don't chase after things that are trying to lead your life. Instead, stand still, be grateful, trust the closing. Trust that what's on the other side of this door is better than what you thought you wanted. Trust that the blessing you're about to walk into needs a lighter version of you. A version unburdened by dead weight, by unnecessary attachments, by things that were never meant to survive your growth. Closed doors are not the end of your story. They're the necessary pauses before the breakthrough. They're the signs that you're being set apart, not cast aside. And every time a door closes, it's a quiet announcement that something better is being built for you, something stronger, something deeper, something that matches the weight of the calling on your life. Don't fight the process. Release what you have to release. Grieve if you must, but don't lose your hope. Don't lose your fire. Don't start believing that the closed door was a punishment. It was a gift wrapped in discomfort, yes, but a gift nonetheless. Because when God gets ready to bless His favorite woman, He doesn't just add new things to her life, He subtracts the things that could destroy her destiny. He removes the things that would distract her from her purpose. He clears the path, even if she doesn't understand it at the time. So walk boldly through this season of closing doors. Trust that what's leaving your life is not greater than what's about to enter it. Trust that every no is making space for the yes you've been waiting for. Trust that every goodbye is setting you up for a better hello. And most of all, trust that no door can close unless it's part of a bigger plan to bless, elevate, and anoint you for the next chapter of your life. One of the clearest signs that a woman is about to step into a new blessing is when her discernment sharpens in ways she can't even fully explain. Suddenly, you start seeing things differently. You start feeling things you used to ignore. You pick up on energies, on attitudes, on hidden intentions that you used to brush off. It's not paranoia, it's preparation. It's a sharpening of your spiritual senses because what's ahead of you requires a new level of wisdom. It requires that you be able to see beyond smiles, beyond promises, beyond appearances. You start to notice that you're no longer impressed by surface level things. Words don't move you the way they used to. You don't get swept up in flattery. You don't fall for empty promises. You can spot manipulation even when it's dressed up nice. You can feel when someone's presence disturbs your peace, even if they haven't said a word. That's not weakness. That's not overthinking. That's discernment being activated on a higher level because your next season demands protection. Blessings attract battles, promotions attract predators, growth attracts jealousy. And if you can't see it, if you can't feel it, you'll end up letting the wrong people have access to places they were never meant to enter. You'll end up sharing your vision with people who only want to sabotage it. That's why, before the blessing shows up, your discernment gets sharper. Your sensitivity increases. You start paying attention to patterns, not just promises. You start noticing the small things, the inconsistencies, the shifts, the way people react to your growth, the way they behave when you're not struggling anymore. This sharpening is a gift, but it's not always comfortable. It's hard to admit that some people's energy isn't aligned with where you're going. It's tough to realize that someone you love might not have your best interest at heart. It's painful to see the truth about environments you once felt safe in, but it's necessary. It's vital. Because you can't carry snakes into your next season and expect to thrive. You can't let blind loyalty override divine wisdom. You can't afford to be naive when you've been chosen for something greater. When your discernment gets sharper, you start moving differently. You become slower to speak, quicker to observe. You don't argue with people's words, you watch their actions. You don't announce every move you're making. You let your results speak for you. You stop trying to convince people of your worth, and you start reserving your energy for places that recognize it without being told. You understand that not everybody deserves a front row seat to your evolution. Some people are better loved from a distance. Sharpening discernment doesn't make you bitter, it makes you wise. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you careful. You're not walking around waiting for people to fail you. You're just no longer ignoring the red flags that you once excused. You're no longer tolerating behavior that insults your spirit. You're no longer sacrificing your peace to maintain connections that drain you. The blessing that's coming your way is too valuable to be placed in untrustworthy hands. The doors that are about to open for you are too significant to be shared with people who can't celebrate you sincerely. The healing you fought for, the growth you've earned, the favor you're stepping into, all of it requires that you guard your space like never before. And discernment is your first line of defense. So if you find yourself in a season where you're sensing more, feeling more, seeing through situations more clearly, don't ignore it. Don't downplay it. Trust what you're feeling. Trust what's being revealed. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. You're being prepared. Your spirit is being trained to recognize what's for you and what's against you without needing to be told. Discernment will save you from battles you never needed to fight. It will keep you from wasting energy on people and situations that are designed to distract you. It will protect your joy. It will preserve your focus. It will keep your heart soft, but your vision sharp. And as you continue to grow, you'll realize discernment isn't just about seeing others clearly. It's about seeing yourself clearly too. It's about recognizing when your own fear is trying to disguise itself as caution. It's about realizing when you're settling because you're tired, not because it's meant for you. It's about understanding the difference between peace and comfort, because comfort can be dangerous when you mistake it for purpose, and discernment sharpens your ability to tell the difference. This is why before the blessing comes, your discernment gets fine-tuned, because elevation requires separation, because purpose requires protection, and because destiny demands that you see not just with your eyes, but with your spirit. To walk boldly with this new discernment, trust it, honor it, let it guide you. It's not just for your protection, it's part of your preparation for the blessing you've been praying for. A blessing that's closer than you think. When a great blessing is about to enter your life, one of the loudest signals you'll feel is the urge to let go of old attachments. And sometimes this urge is confusing, even painful, because the very things you're being asked to release are things you once prayed for, fought for, held close to your heart. But what you have to understand is this: growth always demands a release. Transformation requires you to loosen your grip on what feels familiar, even if it's been a part of your identity for years. You start feeling uncomfortable in places you once called home. You start noticing that certain friendships feel heavier, certain conversations feel emptier, and certain routines that once gave you peace now feel like chains holding you back. It's not because you're being ungrateful. It's because your spirit knows that what served you in one season will strangle you in the next if you don't make room for the new. You feel it deep down, a restlessness, a discomfort, an inner tug pulling you away from people, habits, mindsets that no longer align with who you're becoming. Maybe you can't explain it logically. Maybe on paper everything looks fine, but your spirit knows. Your spirit is telling you it's time. Time to move. Time to release. Time to elevate beyond what's comfortable. Time to stop dragging dead weight into places your future can't afford to carry. Not everyone and not everything can go with you where you're headed. Some connections were only meant for the journey, not the destination. Some habits help you survive, but they can't help you thrive. Some mentalities were necessary for the battle you fought, but now they'll block the blessings you're meant to receive. The blessing requires space. It requires readiness. It requires that you be willing to trust that letting go is not losing, it's making room. It's easy to talk about letting go, but it's hard to actually do it. It's hard because it feels like betrayal. It feels like abandonment. It feels like failure. But in reality, letting go is one of the highest forms of trust you can show. It's saying, I trust that what's ahead of me is greater than what's behind me. I trust that I don't have to cling to what's familiar to be blessed. I trust that the hands that blessed me before will bless me again. There will be moments where you'll question yourself, where you'll wonder if you're being too harsh, too quick to cut ties, too sensitive. But listen closely. When your peace is being disturbed, when your growth is being stifled, when your spirit feels heavy every time you walk into certain rooms or speak to certain people, that's your sign. That's your confirmation. You're not crazy. You're being called higher, and part of that call is the courage to release without resentment. Letting go doesn't always mean slamming doors or burning bridges. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just a slow fading away, a pulling back, a repositioning of your heart. It's choosing not to force conversations that no longer flow. It's deciding not to water connections that no longer bear fruit. It's accepting that some chapters have ended without needing to know all the reasons why. Because the truth is, the blessing that's coming to you will feel heavy if you try to carry it while holding on to everything you're supposed to leave behind. You can't walk into a new season carrying baggage from an old one. You can't step into abundance with a mindset of lack. You can't embrace the love you deserve while holding on to relationships rooted in fear. The blessing demands space. It demands freedom. It demands a woman who is bold enough to trust the unseen more than the familiar. We believe every time you let go of what no longer serves you, you send a message that you are ready for more, that you believe in more, that you expect more. You tell life, you tell destiny, you tell your future, I'm not afraid to release because I know what's coming is greater than what I'm leaving behind. This urge to let go is not a sign of loss. It's a sign of promotion. It's a sign that the foundation is being cleared for something bigger, something stronger, something more aligned with who you really are. So don't resist the urge. Don't numb it. Don't second guess it. Honor it. Lean into it. Trust it. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, it might be lonely for a while. Yes, it might be confusing, but don't mistake discomfort for the wrong path. Growth is always uncomfortable. Elevation always feels strange at first, but once you release what's weighing you down, you'll feel that lightness, that clarity, that strength. You'll realize that everything you let go of was never really holding you. You were holding it. With open hands and an open heart, you're ready for the blessing, ready for the expansion, ready for the life you were always meant to live. When a major blessing is about to find its way into your life, one of the clearest signs is a deep, unshakable shift in your spirit. Something inside you changes. It's not loud. It's not something you can always put into words, but you feel it. You know it. It's like a silent, powerful current pulling you towards something greater, even if you can't fully see it yet. This shift doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It settles in your chest, in your bones, in the way you start seeing the world. You wake up one morning and the old things just don't satisfy you anymore. The old dreams seem too small. The old problems seem beneath your energy. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're just different. There's a new kind of clarity that creeps into your spirit. It's like the fog lifts and you start seeing what really matters. The noise of the world doesn't hold you the way it used to. You don't crave validation from the same places. You stop chasing things that drain you. Instead, you start longing for deeper peace, deeper fulfillment, deeper meaning. The things that once impressed you now feel empty. The people you once needed approval from no longer hold the same weight. That's not arrogance. That's growth. That's your spirit aligning with the new season that's coming. You'll notice your tolerance shrinking. You can no longer sit in rooms where your spirit feels heavy. You can no longer entertain conversations that are rooted in gossip, negativity, or fear. You don't have the energy to fight for attention, to force connections, to prove your worth. Your spirit becomes tired of the noise because it's preparing for the sound of purpose. That's why isolation doesn't scare you the way it used to. You start craving solitude. You start finding comfort in being alone. Not because you're broken, but because your spirit needs the silence to hear what's next. This shift will also bring a new level of self-respect. You'll find yourself setting boundaries you once were too afraid to set. You'll stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You'll walk away from things that don't feed your growth, even if it costs you comfort. You'll stop dimming your light to make others feel comfortable. Why? Because your spirit knows that in order to carry the blessing that's coming, you have to first step into your full, unapologetic self. There's no more shrinking. No more settling, no more tolerating less than what you deserve. At the same time, your patience will deepen. You stop rushing. You stop forcing things to happen on your timeline. You begin to trust the process in a way you never have before, because deep down, your spirit knows what's meant for you is moving toward you. It's not a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. That certainty makes you calmer, more focused. You stop trying to kick down doors. You start preparing your heart, your mind, your surroundings, because you know that the blessing isn't something you have to chase. It's something you have to be ready to receive. And here's something powerful. When your spirit shifts like this, you also start attracting differently. You attract opportunities that align with your purpose, not your desperation. You attract people who see you, not just what they can get from you. You attract situations that feed your soul, not just your ego. Your energy changes. And because your energy changes, your entire environment starts to change too. You become magnetic to the right things and invisible to the wrong things. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's preparation meeting opportunity. But be warned, this shift will cost you. It will cost you old versions of yourself. It will cost you relationships you thought would last forever. It will cost you comforts you've clung to for years. Growth always demands sacrifice, but what you gain on the other side is worth everything you leave behind. What you gain is peace. What you gain is purpose. What you gain is a life that feels like it was designed just for you, because it was. The shift in your spirit is not random. It's intentional. It's divine. It's the preparation before the promise. It's the stretching before the blessing. It's the pruning before the blooming. And if you feel it happening right now, if you feel yourself growing quieter, stronger, more focused, more distant from what no longer fits, don't fight it, lean into it, trust it, honor it, because it's a clear sign that you're standing on the edge of something extraordinary. You're not losing your mind. You're not falling apart. You're being prepared. You're being positioned. You're being made ready for the blessing that's about to overtake your life in ways you couldn't have even imagined. Hold on. Stay patient. Stay faithful. The shift you feel is the beginning of everything you've been waiting for. This is not the season to give up. This is not the season to question your worth. This is the season to get silent, get ready, and keep moving, because the blessing that's coming, it's bigger than you prayed for. It's greater than you dreamed of. And it's coming right on time. So if you recognize even one of these signs in your life right now, don't doubt it. Don't delay it. Get ready, because you are the favorite.